Tom.
Hello, Dana.
How are you, man?
Pretty good. So here we are. Here we are again.
On Two Guys Talking Toys.
Yes, we are. That's your thing. I wouldn't take this away from you.
It's usually not my thing. I'm getting better at it, though.
It would be like someone else saying lifestyles of the rich and famous.
We should change our podcast name to lifestyles of the poor and undeserving.
Lifestyles of the people who really want toys.
Of the poor and undeserving. Yes.
Pretty bad at handling a budget.
What was that guy's name? Robin Leach, right?
Robin Leach.
Robin Leach. I'm Robin Leach, right?
And for the longest time, for absolutely no good reason, as a kid, I would get that confused with the Love Boat. I thought he was like the narrator for Love Boat for some reason.
Right.
That makes no sense at all. The show had nothing to do with each other.
Make any sense at all. We saw those Love Boat toys today, mint on card.
Oh yeah, that's right. We could have gotten Isaac.
Yes.
Although I still maintain I was very upset that he didn't had the finger guns.
That's right. Why didn't he?
Couldn't make him go A. They didn't want to get sued by the Fonz.
Right. This is really close. Which is weird to do with my busted finger. You get anything new?
I did. So Target, who has still not sent me my Sunmans. I'm not gonna let this go until I receive those in the mail. But right. they are still working towards keeping me happy while I don't know if the Sunmans are on the boat heading this way. I don't know if there is a guy who has my two Sunmans and he's just waiting. He's just waiting to see when I purchase him. Yeah, like when I finally purchase one in store, they will send me the two that I pre-ordered. So
right.
we'll have to.
It's going to be. It's going to be like my dad when we were young. When I was a kid, right? This is what the guy with your Sunman action figures is doing. My dad would be sitting in the living room, and I'd have to ask him something, right? So I'd go, "Dad, nothing." He'd ignore me. I go, "Dad, nothing." Finally, I'm like, "Dad," and he'd look down for the paper, and now he's aggravated. He's like, "What?" Because like if you heard, why you wouldn't be aggravated with me if you would just respond the first time.
Just answered. I'm not going to lose interest. I'm not going to stop bothering you for it.
That's the guy with your son. When you go to Target, you buy it, and then you're like, "Man, forget it. I bought my own." He's gonna be like, "What? I don't understand. What did I do?"
It's the problem. You should have said so.
Right. Why did you say something? Yeah.
Why are you so mad, buddy? So in the meantime, to keep myself not angry, I wound up going to Target and I located some new. The most current Transformers line going right now is called Legacy. So some of the newer figures have started to hit the shelves. So I picked up this guy named Scrap Hook, who is Hasbro finally realized people want Junkions because they remember the movie. They remember the animated movie where they wound up on the planet of junk and they had to fight 782 Junkions. So and they all look different.
Did you pause the movie and count them?
Yeah, like they're in the background. You can see them. The landscape is made up of Junkions.
Yes,
they're literally just running on top of each other. And I always thought it was so cool that when you knocked one down, you saw him like fly off the bike and fall apart, like literally fall apart. And then he picked himself up and he picked up a leg that he saw on the ground and like another arm, and they just shoved it back on and they ran back. So they started doing a gimmick in the line called weaponizers. And these are figures that they form a robot and they transform into a vehicle, but you can pop them apart. Like you can pull off the arms and the legs and use them as weapons for other Transformers that are in the line. And
that's cool.
They were like, well, I guess we should do this with Junkions. Yes, you should be doing this with Junkions. Good job.
Duh.
So I picked up him, and if I find more, I will pick up more of them. I found Breakdown, who is the final component to Menasor. So now I can make my legacy version of Menasor, which is nice. And
Cool.
this was a first for the line. There's a character from the IDW comics named Tarn, and part of his big appeal initially is that his face is the Decepticon symbol.
Right. I was just thinking that's awesome.
In the comics, he's part of.
So he's like a Transformer model.
Pretty much. He's. I'm not super into the comics. IDW had been running the comics for years now. They recently lost the license, but Tarn was part of a group called the DJD, the Decepticon Justice Division, and it was him and maybe like three. I forgot how many other members there were offhand. There's somebody who was really into IDW who's screaming at the podcast right now. It was them. They were essentially the ones that would like police the Decepticons, or if someone was a major threat, they would send out the DJD to go handle them, nice. which was kind of interesting.
Sounds I have like a cool job.
Yeah, I have my issues with IDW, but for the most part, it was pretty good stuff. So it's kind of neat to have found this, and this is pretty nice. But send me my son, man. Target. So
I like
have you found any
Tom?
Have you found anything? I
did. I picked up and this is my Vincent Price
egghead
from the McFarlane line. So I love these guys. Like this is a solid figure. Like he's not super articulated. Like I like this kind of articulation, and this is a solid figure. So good job, McFarlane.
I'm impressed they reached back and plucked him from the line. Like aren't they also? Didn't they also announce they're going to do like King Tut?
King Tut, yeah.
Wow.
I'm excited about it. But this is the first. I don't have any Vincent Price.
Mm-hmm.
So this is cool. And I picked up one of the most inspirational villains in the Marvel universe, the Blob.
Oh, that is awesome.
I love that being fat is a superpower. So like
now, where did you get him from?
I ordered him from shameless plug, big bad toy store.
Good job, Big Bad. They have been getting stuff in long before a lot of other places.
It's so good. I don't know if you can see it, loyal listeners, but like freckles on his arm. Like,
that is super cool.
The details are very cool. And he's got this, like, this would have been a cool figure to have when you're a kid because he's solid. Like, this guy can lay a punch on. Like, he's got a good punch hand. He's got a good grab hand. Like, he's good to pose, like holding on somebody. And, if he had Egghead up in the air.
And he looks like someone who would bully you in gym class.
Like, look at that right there.
Like, what a jerk.
What a
jerk.
Here's my battle scene right there.
So now did you have the Toy Biz Build-A-Figure for the Blob?
No, I don't have that one.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool though. But I don't think he's that cool.
Yeah, I've been hearing different opinions on, like, a lot of people are starting to sell theirs in favor of that one, but then there seems to be a few people who I shouldn't say a few. There's a decent number of people who are out there that kind of prefer the Toy Biz one. I think it's a little bit taller than the new one, but the current, like, I like the look of the current one. I think that actually fits in a little bit better with the current aesthetic.
Yeah, and then I've got the other blobs, like the little Toy Biz one, the original one that came with the turkey leg,
Oh, that's right.
And then the X-Men Evolutions one,
yes,
which is pretty cool. He had the rubber, thing here to bounce.
I always wanted to get the Juggernaut from that line. It came out towards the end, so he was super hard.
He's fantastic.
To find,
like he was a little slim, like he was a slimmer version, but very tall. And again, that was a good line. I like anything that looks kind of animated.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny you bring that up. That this preference for like a line's look or like a specific kind of quirk that goes along with it. Since we discussed collections and being a full-on collector, a completionist versus someone that picks and chooses. Right. You lean more towards collecting kind of everything.
It's a neurosis.
Even if you don't intend to.
Right.
Whereas I kind of do that, but I tend to pull back and just kind of pick at whatever it is I think looks neat. And some of the reasoning behind that is what I would call like a weird quirk. Uh, the conversation that I would like to have for this week is, what are your collecting quirks? Like what are like specific things that you look for when you're collecting a toy line? And it doesn't have to be something that makes sense. As just throwing,
Right.
yeah,
I
like just
love when I get
yeah,
the you don't have to make sense.
yeah,
Just say
like
something.
if it makes sense, like it might be something that just makes sense to you, and no one else. Like if someone else, if you
Right.
mention this to someone else, they might be like, why though?
Yeah.
For example, like I collect Transformers, and I do not collect every single Transformer because I kind of prefer kind of the more Generation One looking stuff, and some people prefer the movie stuff, and some people prefer like the more like Rescue Bot things. Uh, but one of the things that I really cling to is like even though I collect, um, what will break that barrier for me is Optimus Prime. Like some people have a specific character that they just love. Like some people have, some people love Soundwave. So no matter what version of Soundwave exists, they will get it.
Right. Right.
For
Except for the
me,
satellite version one.
you know what? I actually did pick up the satellite version of Soundwave because I just wanted to see.
Right.
I was just curious about it. It's terrible. I sold it, but it was I needed to see it in hand. My thing, one of my major things, and I have mentioned this before, is I love black repaints of things, and Optimus Prime is ripe for black repaints. Someone will correct me if I am wrong, but I believe the first repaint of Optimus Prime was.
You're assuming
Uh,
somebody's going to listen, but go ahead.
hey, we've got some
We do
listeners.
have listeners. We do.
We've
We
got
even
some
have
listeners. So
subscribers. So
yeah,
thank you to you people.
yeah, so good job subscribing. If the first bit of major engagement is someone yelling at me for getting the first Black Optimus Prime wrong, I will take that as a compliment. So I believe the first version of him was a figure called Nucleon Quest Optimus Prime, or Nucleon Quest Convoy, and it was a full black repaint. He had red windows, I believe blue eyes, and he looks awesome.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I have there was a re-release of him that I got. Later down the line, the idea of Prime having this color scheme then kind of persisted, and he's appeared in different forms. But there was a show called Car Robots in the U.S. It was Robots in Disguise, where they introduced another version of Optimus Prime that was also a black and gray in color scheme, except he was evil and he was just called Black Convoy. When they brought the figure over to the U.S., it was called Scourge. It was a repaint of another a previously released version of Optimus Prime called Laser Rod Optimus Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Black Convoy, same toy, way cooler. Don't know why.
When you say Black Convoy, like I immediately think of the Knight Rider bad guy truck. Goliath, was that his name?
Yes, Goliath.
Yeah.
Where is our Transformers cross Knight Rider crossovers? I need a Transformer of Kit, I need a Transformer of Car, and I need a Transformer of Goliath.
Yeah.
Where is this, Casper?
Well, they just did. I'm a big Playmobil fan, and they just released the or you could pre-order the Playmobil Michael Knight and Kit.
Oh, that's
which
awesome.
is outstanding. Yeah.
So one of my like ongoing things, almost no matter whether it's movie design, whether it's just a normal design, if it is Optimus Prime and he's in a black color scheme, I will get him. I don't care what he costs. The only time that
you hear that, loyal listeners? He does not care what it costs.
Now, if it's Optimus Prime, is it black? I really kind of want to get it.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's only been a couple that have escaped my grasp. One of them was Takara would do this thing called Lucky Draw, and it meant that it was just this super duper rare. Maybe 5 or 6 units were made, and one of them was from the line that I just mentioned before, Car Robots. Optimus Prime was a fire truck in that one. It was a great action figure, fantastic toy combined with the trailer and everything. There is a black and gold version of that. It's a lucky draw. I will never own this because it costs way too much money.
How many of these were made, and like where would you even find it?
Oh, just a handful. I've only seen one in person at the convention for Transformers BotCon. That's the
Mm.
only time I've ever seen one in person. Um, I don't recall what if I don't even remember if they were selling it, whoever it was that had it there. But it just goes for absurd amount. Like all the Lucky Draw characters, it's always like something just really strange, really obscure, but interesting. Goes for tons of money. But like
Right.
that's one of my quirks. If any time tomorrow Optimus Prime is released and he is in a black color scheme, I will pick him up.
Just because he matches your ensemble so
Oh
well
yes.
every day. Like you could
Oh
just
yeah.
have a different Prime sitting on your shoulders like a transforming parrot, and
Because
he would match perfectly.
yeah, because depending on the and depending on the character, a black repaint is something I'll pick up. Like Soundwave, there is a black version of Soundwave
Mhm.
called Sound Blaster in Japan, and he's awesome. I
He's
pick
awesome.
him up anytime I see one. I'll pick him up.
Nice. I do have like quirks like that. First off, I want to say that I noticed you changed your shelf behind you, and Cygor looks as though he's upset. He's like, it looks like he's leaning on the post, right? With a crying fist, like from my angle, he
Oh,
just
you know why? Because he's very upset because we both realize that Mirror Lionel, he's
yeah.
way more orange than he is red. Because we discussed this on
Kool-Aid
a
Lion-O.
yeah,
Kool-Aid Lion-O.
who is much more orange flavor than red flavor, which is a little disappointing because
Yeah.
I wanted to put Pumra's head on Mirror Lionel, so I did, but it's not quite the same. It's
No,
not
I can
quite
see
the
that. Yeah.
not quite what I was hoping for,
Doesn't have the punch.
but it does look awesome. Like I've got currently, I have Pumra's head on Pumra in his Jesus mode. I have Pumra on.
Jesus.
For anyone who is unfamiliar, when Pumra first appears in Thundercats, he's just wearing these weird, like Old Testament style robes. And I
Yeah,
was
like
like,
he just came down from Mount Sinai.
yeah, it's very strange and very weird, but I guess also increases the impact of him being an evil villain. I put they also included a larger Pumra head that you can put on Mumra so that
Mhm.
the sizes match. And now I'm not going to take it off. I'm going to leave him as that.
All
Uh,
right. I
I
like it.
may do a repaint of him a little bit later, just because.
Nice. Just because.
So
Uh
so
so again
back to
we
Quirks. Back to
sidelined. We sidelined
yes.
because of sad Cygor back there. Quirks, like yeah, you mentioned it earlier, like anything that's animated or like is designed to look like I love the cell painted X-Men
Mhm.
line that's coming out, and I don't really go for the movie Marvel Legends so much
Yeah.
because you know who wants to see the actor. I don't really care. uh I like the characters, but I you know I don't need Chris Helmsworth hanging out in my room. uh I
Now
mean,
do
he seems like a cool guy, but
do you have like a particular character where like if you see this if you see whomever, no matter what version of them or how they're depicted, that you'll just pick up?
yeah, a couple
Mhm.
actually. I'm a huge Batman fan,
Yes.
Batman tattoos and stickers on the Jeep, and Batman's been my guy for a long time. So I have way too many Batman figures. Uh like I don't know, a lot. And
McFarlane would disagree with you.
right, he keeps he's the one who broke me in the habit though.
He would like you to have all the Batmans.
Right. If I was ever like addicted to some sort of pharmaceutical problem, I would go to Todd, and he'd help me out with that because he's really helping me out with my toy addiction, my Batman addiction specifically. uh One of them was for a long time, as many were, Wolverine. Like I've
Mhm.
got a whole shelf of just Wolverine stuff, but there hasn't been a lot of Wolverine stuff lately, and over the last couple years. And so much so when they finally did one, I was like, oh my god, there's Wolverine, he's back. uh
Do you
and
plan on? I mean, they tend to they stick him in a lot of the X Men ways. Like I know there's another wave coming out now where they're all wearing the kind of the Danger Room suits.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
what are you gonna be picking that one up or
Yeah.
you can't help yourself?
And then the rest of them have matching outfits, so
Yep.
it's like putting together a dance team. I gotta get them. And I was a big fan of Deadpool before anyone knew who he was, really.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? When he was
Yeah.
written just to be the character that would come in and eliminate a problem.
Mhm.
And I've got the Deadpool comics starting from when he got his own title, starting from #1 all the way through. And, I started getting all the figures. And for a long time, until the movie came out, I
Mhm.
had all of the Deadpool toys that had ever been released.
Mhm.
But then they flooded the market with a bunch of, not so great toys. So I didn't pick them all up. But Deadpool's the one where if they do a good one, uh, I'm gonna have to pick it up.
Mhm.
Uh, Also Scooby Doo.
Oh, okay.
I love Scooby Doo. When I was a kid, so anything that comes out, like the Playmobil stuff, even the
Mhm.
movie, the Scoob movie stuff was pretty
Really?
good.
So you picked
Yeah,
that stuff up, huh?
yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons,
Mhm.
all of them from Flintstones all the way up, and the old ones, Blue Falcon, the Herculoids, Thundar the Barbarian, like
Mhm.
all of the Hanna-Barbera stuff. So if I could find Hanna-Barbera stuff that has that cool like animated look,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be all over that.
Oh, okay. That's that sounds like
Most of it's
but
pretty expensive now, though. So
that is I feel I don't know if that counts as a quirk, but that is definitely a factor in
right. Like
in
there's so many
collecting.
cool the Herculoids are the coolest thing ever. Thundar the Barbarian.
Mhm.
Come on. Where are the new toys? Put something out, not a limited run. Everybody wants them. Put them
Yeah,
out, make them affordable. Let's go.
I am very surprised that those haven't been re-released or re-released with like slightly different paint jobs or something like that. Uh,
Right.
or or my one of my favorite quirks, glow in the dark stuff.
Oh, I know. And we always put glow in the dark,
So
translucent, and
yeah, so
anamorphize.
yeah,
You're on
so
it.
if you're making something that glows in the dark, like Scare Glow was clearly meant for me. The
Right.
Undertaker version of Scare Glow was clearly meant for me.
Yeah.
If you create a figure, or even there was a weird Ghostbusters WWE crossover
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
had this weird, like, sort of translucent purple ghost
His eyes are
Undertaker.
creepy. When you just put him up
Yeah,
to the camera, that
it's
looks pretty creepy.
it's actually pretty neat, and it took me a while to I stumbled across him on eBay, and that's one of the I guess that kind of ties into one of my other quirks where if I stumble across something that just looks cool, um, I'll get it. I'll pick it up.
See, I won't. You know why? Because then I have to get the rest of them.
so so here's a a fun slash stupid story that ties directly into my weird quirks
That's
of
our whole
it's
shtick.
yeah just fun weird stuff. So there is a an anime in Japan called Majin Bone, and
Mhm.
the premise behind I'm going to be wrong because I haven't looked past the design, so I'm not that familiar with the story. It's a bunch of like teenagers slash kids. I don't know who they're fighting against, but their transformation sequence are into these really cool uh animal themed, oh, I guess almost like Power Rangers, except they to me they look way cooler. And they have animal themed outfits and weapons, and they look just amazing. And I stumbled across one randomly online, and I didn't know what it was. And I ever just like looking through the pictures and going through, and I was like, I have to own this. So I went to Hobbylink Japan, who happened to be having a sale, like this mega sale, this mega clearance on a bunch of random stuff. And I looked up Machin Bone, and about 5 or 6 other characters came up. There's one that is shark themed. There's a wolf themed one. There's a lion themed one. There's a
Mhm.
tiger themed one. And then one of the main bad guys is this cool kind of Goro looking 4-armed creature. I order all of these. I order all of them. I get the I ship them in from Japan with EMS shipping because I needed them now.
Mhm.
And I took a look at them. I built one of them, and I was like, "This is really cool. Okay, I'm going to set these aside, and I will come back to these when I have more time to like just sit down and build these models." Cut to 2, maybe 3 years later. I haven't done any of this. I'm looking around online, just poking around on stuff, and I stumble across this really cool looking Power Ranger style tiger character. And I'm like, oh my God, this is really cool. What is this? I start scrolling through again, I started looking, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's more of them. There's like a shark one and like a wolf one, and there's a
Right.
four-armed creature thing. I gotta get these. And then I start going. I mean, I go over to Hobby Link Japan again, not remembering that I've already done this. I
Right.
go, I go through, and then I'm putting them in the cart and I'm checking them out, and I get to my final thing, and I say, "What? Wow, let's stroll down memory lane. What was the last thing I ordered from Hobby Link Japan?" And this whole list of all the other Majin bones that I already collected came up, and I was like, I almost recollected this line.
Again, you did that
I
with the
almost,
sectors.
I almost except sectors I didn't already have, like just sitting in a box somewhere. Those were lost to me.
Right. Right.
These, and I and I went to where I had them in storage, and I
Mm,
looked and I was like, here's all the Majin Bone that I almost reordered because
mm.
I saw them. They looked super cool, so I got them, and then I forgot
Right.
about them because that's one of my quirks is that I find random things that look really neat, and then I have to get them,
Right.
and then I set them aside because now I've gotten them, and then I move on to the next thing.
The next, I got those.
Yep,
Erase it from
done.
memory. It's been
Reset.
inventoried. Yeah. I don't know why, but I'm pretty good about not doubling up on stuff. It happens once in a while, but not very often. I'm a sucker, like I said, for anything that has an animated look. Like I was walking through like Five Below,
Mhm.
a really shameless plug because we're not getting anything there. But they had this line I saw, Invisimals. I'd never heard of them.
Oh
But
yeah.
they had this cool like animal animated look, and I was like,
Mhm.
I have to buy those. They're like $5. I have to buy them. And now I didn't get them all, so
Mhm.
now I'm trying to find the rest of them. But
That is that. I think that's one of the weird things about kind of the quirks that we have. Like once you're in, you're in.
yeah,
If it tickles that particular quirk, you're
yeah,
like, well, I,
yeah, yeah,
I gotta I gotta get it. Like the glow in the dark stuff. I have managed to stay away from Hot Wheels has started putting out a lot of glow in the dark stuff. I
yeah,
started
yeah.
seeing a lot of like pastel stuff, and
Your house looks
I
like you could find constellations at night.
absolutely I've got them just randomly around the apartment in different rooms. So
Right?
there's the glow in the dark. I have Undertaker set up with all the scare glows.
Yeah, yeah,
I've got once I realized that He-Man Classics King Grayskull came in a because one of the original releases was they did him in bronze to mimic the statue, but then there was another one that looked kind of like an old greenish marble statue that
yeah.
I never got it because I didn't really care until years later finding out that he glowed in the dark. I ordered him the next day.
Right.
I need him.
You know,
I
I
gotta get
think
him.
you have so many more of those little quirks than I do, other than the animated stuff. Like, yeah, I can name them. Like, there's the anthropomorphized thing, and we've gone through them. Like, we've made jokes this whole time. Glow in the dark, translucent.
And then if they're
Like, when are you
combined,
gonna get your? When are they gonna make a glow in the dark plunderling for you?
I am waiting for that. Plunderlings, please make a glow in the dark Plunderling. I'll buy it. I've already
Yeah,
bought. I have literally purchased. It's funny that you bring those up. If they
there
are
he is.
clear, I will buy them.
I have that guy. He's sitting. Where is he sitting? Right there.
Yup, they're fantastic. The green
Oh, I
clear
like
one.
the green clear one. I don't have
He's
that one.
he was from this one, and there was a blue one that was included in the original Kickstarter. Uh, those are the ones that I wanted. The most current one, the one they did for Plunderstrongs, there
Yeah.
is a clear trench character that I purchased. I need him. I gotta have
I
him.
think back to when I was younger about like, quirks. Like I even when we were young and I was a kid, like I had like a rigid thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
my brothers and I would like find toys that we could combine and make a good story of and
Mm-hmm.
play. Like I've said, we didn't play like normal kids. We still don't. And so but I needed, like, my teams needed to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I got mostly the superhero guys,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother Derek, he liked things that were a little creepy, You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like the fact that he always wanted a customized, like, he had that, like, he had like a realm that he built. You remember I told you, and loyal listeners, I hope you remember, like we would create worlds in the basement, and he had an area that he called Cursed Earth, and he had like creepy things. It didn't make sense.
Mhm.
Like universal monster type things, and he likes that creepy thing. Even when we were really young, I don't
Mhm.
like my younger brother and I used to run around the yard pretending to be these adventurers, right? And we had very simple names for them. But we would climb trees, pretend they were mountains. Like we were
Mhm.
young. I'm
Yeah,
talking
you
first,
were
second
kids.
grade. Yeah,
Mhm.
and so my older brother would join us, and then like we're in the middle of an adventure, and he would like uh jump on us and pretend to bite us because his character turned into a werewolf, and we're like, what the heck?
Why?
A werewolf in this adventure?
Why is this
But now there
happening?
was, so Derek kind of had that, it's like creepy, like DC dark kind of characters, and my younger brother Dale was more like you. He had a Mod Podge and would create these characters and stories. And I've shared with you some of the wonderful things he did. Like he would have, like, we had Metlar, and then we'd
Mhm.
have the wrestlers, and he would make Jake the Snake like summon Metlar to
Which
like,
is which is fantastic. And
which is
I
fantastic,
I
right?
kind of wish was canon.
Yeah,
I wish
that
that
would
was an
be
actual
amazing.
thing. So
But like,
how are you about troop building, which is it is a quirk that I know that a lot of collectors have, but one
right.
that I feel like companies have not really learned to cash in on until fairly recently.
Right. It wasn't something that the first time I really experienced that is when we were younger. My older brother is a big Star Wars fan,
Mhm.
and he would buy multiple
Mhm.
stormtroopers to have behind. And so we kind of came up with a rule. So we needed some sort of equation to see who had the bigger army, right?
uh,
So every stormtrooper you had equaled 100 troops. So every, like, if you had a Cobra and a Cobra officer, like you had
mhm.
100 Cobra per figure you had.
Mhm.
So we, of course, wanted to have the bigger army,
Yeah.
but I didn't get into it as much. I liked having the characters, like they were real characters.
See,
So even now, I have just really begun doing that with the classifieds line, because I
mhm.
have some Star Wars stuff, but it's
Yeah.
not my big thing.
Did
Um,
did GI Joe, like the side of GI Joe, did they have troop builders? Because Cobra had like the bats and the vipers and the ninjas and whatever. I don't remember there
right.
being just
There weren't.
random
Just
grunts in GI
recently,
Joe.
Reaction has done random
Hmm.
guys, infantry troops and Navy
Yeah.
guys and all that. But the original Joes didn't. And I think that was purposeful, even though in the cartoon there were
Yeah.
background players. But I think that
Mhm.
was purposeful. Like, you want the good guy to be the underdog, right?
Yeah.
He's got to overcome the biggest obstacles,
Hmm.
and Cobra was trying to take over the world, so they had to be a pretty big operation. But uh,
Hasbro
uh,
seems to have kindly caught on to that because they
they
recently
have. They're
announced
doing
that they're
well.
doing a 2 pack of troopers
Yeah, and then they
for
did
Joe.
the three, yeah. And
Hmm.
then they did the the 3 pack of the Vipers, and
Yeah.
and then the ninjas, which
Hmm.
you and I have joked about how ninjas mean nothing, and like they're supposed to be like like one ninja, is the ultimate assassin, right? Should get in anywhere and kill anyone, but like,
Like it made more sense to have them be kind of goofy and non effective in something like Ninja Turtles when they went from the comic to the cartoon where the foot soldiers were now who were troop builders, which was kind of neat. But they were robots, so they were just probably pretty crappily made robots, and
right,
Ninja Turtles
probably
could
made
just
by
could
the
just
same
destroy
guys who
them.
made the new Dungeons and Dragons figures.
Yeah, they're like, sure, it's like these arms are trash. Krang.
Right.
But
But
now,
I don't have the very specific, like, other than the animated thing.
mhm.
Like, you have some very specific things that you will buy no matter what it is. Like, if
I I'm a
I do want a translucent, or I do want a glow in the dark like Mr. T figure.
That would be amazing.
I would buy any Mr. T figure though. There's the one. That's the one. Like
Oh, there
Mr.
you
T,
go.
I will buy any Mr. T figure. I've got one back there. And a couple downstairs, you know, the B.A. Baracus, like any Mr. T figure, I'm on it. Like that 2-pack with Roddy Piper. I want that Mr. T. I have no interest in Piper, but I want that Mr. T.
You know, you should check. You should keep an eye on that on eBay. There has to be someone that's got him loose that would be willing to part with him for.
I'm sure.
Hopefully not a fortune. And then you could troop build Mr. T.
Yeah. If I could have a shelf full of just Mr. T stuff.
I tried to limit my my troop building collecting because I love troop builders, but I've also tried to kind of rein it in because resources are only so much, and I've settled on the number 3. So if there is a troop builder,
3 is a good number because you could put it's a good display behind the leader. Like,
so you've got like it's enough. Like 2, I feel like is a specialized elite. Once you bring in that 3rd guy, it kind of lessens it. Where you're like, okay, so it's just like a bunch of dudes. That's fine.
So why Tom and I have lunch alone, you know, because 2 is elite. 3 is just a faceless mob, right?
Yeah, 3 you're starting to get out of hand. Things are
3 is practically a party. You don't want a troop of people having lunch.
There's a reason that 3's the crowd never took off. There's a reason that show bombed.
Yeah, but 3's company did well.
That is true. That's true. You can't split them off. You can't.
Right. If you go down to the Regal Beagle with Larry, you can go in 3's.
You're gonna. I mean, now to be fair, if Susan Summers is wearing like a Cobra Viper outfit, you're gonna get some views on that. So I feel like that was a formula that worked.
Only if she's using the Thigh Master. What?
But once she starts demanding, equal pay, the Cobra Commander is going to kick her out because that's just how those things worked in the 80s.
Right. They did do some female Cobra troops, so
they did. I'm glad to see
ninjas and female ninjas. Not Jinx yet, but female ninjas.
Where is Jinx? Why have we not gotten Jinx? Oh, dude, another Quirk question before we are out of time.
Because I was ready to ask you. We've really not stayed on topic at all. So yeah, let's do another Quirk question.
I feel like we've done fairly well. But your take on female characters. Todd McFarlane, thumbs down, apparently. So what about you? Do you collect female characters? Because they're generally kind of a rarity amongst in the line.
It used to be the rule that they were the short packed figure because girls don't play with toys and blah 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 blah, or action figures, and the boys, like when we were young, like nobody wanted to be Princess Leia. That just didn't work. Nobody wanted to be Princess Leia, so she was short packed. And then after Jedi, when we were all old enough to be collectors, everybody wanted Princess Leia in her Jedi outfit. But no, it was never a thing for me. Like even when I was young, once I got past being 5, when Princess Leia came out, like again, it was a joke. Like Scarlet, Cover Girl, like they were all fine. Chitara, Tila was presented to be a strong warrior, and so no, I mean, I know people who specifically collect mostly anime kind of women, which is not my thing per se, but like I don't mind. I don't go out of my way to get them, but now there's so many strong female characters in all the storylines that they've come up with some really good figures. And so I'm glad to see them represented all over in wrestling figures. There are so many more now in the He-Man lore because they're tying She-Ra in there, so it's no longer like the girls have She-Ra and the guys have He-Man. So I think it's cool.
Awesome. Well, we are down to less than a minute. I think this has been fun. I know that we have tons of Quirks. I'm sure the listeners have a lot of Quirks. Tell us about your collecting Quirks. What do you prefer? What will drag you in, kicking and screaming, even if you know better? Let us know. Join us in the conversation at 2 Guys Talking Toys on Twitter. That is Two Guys Talking Toys. No G after the talking. The number 2. If you feel more comfortable writing us at Gmail, our Gmail is two guys talking toys at gmail.com. The number 2. No G after the talking.
Nice. And I pity the fool who doesn't find me more Mr. T toys.
I pity the fool. Take care. Take care, everybody.